On this day in Tudor history, we go back to the 4th of April 1554, a cold and uneasy morning in London, where another life, tied to ambition, power and tragedy, was about to come to an end. This is the story of the death of Henry Grey, a man whose name would forever be linked to one of the most heartbreaking chapters of the Tudor age. Henry Grey was not just any noble man, he was the father of Lady Jane Grey, the young girl remembered as the 9 Days Queen. Only months before his death, his family had reached for the crown itself. In July 1553, after the death of Edward VI, Jane was placed on the throne in a bold but desperate attempt to keep England Protestant, but it all collapsed within days when Mary I of England claimed what was rightfully hers. At first, Henry Grey was lucky despite his involvement in placing his own daughter on the throne. He was spared. Mary showed mercy, something not always associated with Tudor rulers. For a brief moment, it seemed the Duke of Suffolk had been given a second chance. But in Tudor England, second chances were fragile and often short-lived. Everything changed in early 1554 with the outbreak of the Wyatt's rebellion. This was not just any rebellion, it was driven by fear of Queen Mary I's planned marriage to Philip II of Spain, and the fear of England being pulled back firmly into Catholic rule. Many Protestants felt their world slipping away, and once again Henry Grey made a choice that would cost him everything. He joined the rebellion. Whether it was desperation, belief or sheer misjudgment, we can only guess, but what is certain is that it was a fatal mistake. The rebellion failed, Wyatt was defeated, and the Queen, who had once shown mercy, would not offer it again. Henry Grey fled, but there was nowhere to hide. He was captured, brought back to London, and charged with treason. This time there would be no pardon. The man who had once stood at the edge of royal power was now facing the full force of it. And so we come to the morning of April the 4th, 1554. Tower Hill was already filling with people. Executions in Tudor England were public events. Tower Hill was already filling with people. Executions in Tudor England were public events that drew crowds from across the city. Some came out of curiosity, others out of sympathy, and many simply because this was how justice was seen to be done. Henry Grey was led to the scaffold. There is something haunting about these final walks. Just weeks earlier, his daughter Jane had made her own journey to her execution. Now it was her father's turn. When he reached the scaffold, Henry Grey is said to have accepted his fate. There was no dramatic last-minute pleas, no desperate attempts to escape what was coming. He knew the world he had lived in and the price of failure within it. He addressed the crowd briefly, acknowledging his guilt. In Tudor executions, This was often expected, a final act of submission to the crown. It reinforced the power of the monarch and served as a warning to all who watched. Then he prepared himself. The executioner stood ready. In a moment that must have felt like an eternity, Henry Grey placed his head upon the block. The crowd fell into a strange silence that often comes just before something terrible happens. And then, with a single stroke of the axe, it was over. The Duke of Suffolk was dead. His death marks the final chapter in a family tragedy. It's a story that captures something essential about Tudor England, how dangerous ambition could be, how quickly fortunes could turn, and how survival often depended on knowing when not to act. But Henry Grey had been given a chance, a rare chance. If he had stayed loyal, if he had kept his head down, history might have remembered him very differently. But instead, he stepped back into rebellion and paid the price. And so, on this day in Tudor history, we remember not just the death of a duke, but the end of a family's fatal gamble for the crown.